Hello and welcome to my tutorial on 5 sculling Orcs Must Die 2 level wind up on endless mode. I am Ninja Dave. I'm going to be walking you through what I think is a relatively easy way to 5 skull this level. It's actually not that difficult. In fact, of the 5 levels that I've played on endless, this is the easiest by far. That may be because when I was doing tunnels I didn't have enough skulls to upgrade all of my things to the level that one might desire. I haven't gone back since I had enough skulls to do that to play it again to see if it's easier than it was when I was trying it at first. But this is much easier than Precipice was. I'm using a lot of the same principles that I used in that video, so you'll find that they're relatively similar. The differences are that Wind Up has no flyers, and it's easier to get the gnolls to track through your traps than it is in Precipice, so they don't own you as much as they do on that level. I'm going to start out by taking you through the things that I brought with me in my spell book. Started out with the Mana Rage trinket upgraded on both slots. My weapon is the crossbow with the headshots deal extra damage upgraded all the way, and headshots generate mana. I also brought with me the Ring of Lightning upgraded to chain through 5 targets, and I think it's 5. And the lightning storm chills some enemies to slow them down a little bit. My traps were the arrow wall, upgraded to do extra damage, sometimes set enemies on fire, although I wish that I had gotten chill enemies. I think that I actually had this set on flame arrows from when I was trying to do crunch, and I just didn't change it, and I wish that I had, because there really wasn't anything to help me out with the fire ogres, which, as it turns out, were what ended my my game at level 44. And also, arrow walls can be placed on the ceiling. This I end up using extensively, although I might have tried a different strategy if I hadn't gotten locked into this around level 25, when you can't go back in and change things again. I have barricades upgraded for cost and for self-repairing. Brimstone upgraded all the way for the number of mobs that it burns, and it heats up faster. Floor Scorchers upgraded for damage, for covering a larger arc, although this isn't nearly as important as it was on Precipice, because you really don't put the Floor Scorchers behind any barricades. They only have to shoot 1 square, but it's still nice to be able to stack them 2 at a time in front of a tar trap. And they can be placed on walls, although I didn't use this at all. Just aren't very many walls in the kill box area. Grinders increased damage and unjams much more quickly. And Haymakers deals more damage and stuns mobs it can't throw, although I really only used Haymakers as sort of an afterthought when I was trying to find places to put traps after everything was already pretty much full. You might very well go with something else, something a little bit more helpful, and maybe another trinket, or the ice bracers, or ice whatever they are. Tar upgraded for cost and slows down enemies even more, and I think that's it. Okay, so once again I started my attempt at doing this by looking for videos on YouTube of other people who have tried this. I could only actually find a single video. Again, it was by Fried Egg and another YouTube user named Nanania, who did this as a co-op, and I really only watched about the first minute of their video, and nevertheless managed to steal their initial trap setup, which is what you see me doing here. When I played this game, this level, map, whatever, on War Mage difficulty to 5 skull the first time, I essentially did just put barricades off to the two sides and put a kill box up at the top hall to catch the vast majority of the orcs, and then stood in the center of the room right in front of the rift and defended it, and then built a sort of a trap defense around the rift after that. This turns out to be much more effective for the endless mode of playing. To do a kill box off to the side like this and to funnel all of the orcs through it, because if you can defend against the sappers, you can keep your barricades safe, and the only thing you have to worry about is the gnolls, which are pretty frequent, but there aren't very many on any given level except for a couple. Again, 19 has a lot of gnolls on it, and also 43, the same as Precipice. That seems to be a pattern with the way they're doing the endless modes. So as you can see, what I've got set up is just 2 barricades off to the side, and 2 grinders up against the wall, tar in front of the grinders, and a scorcher on the ground, and 2 scorchers on the wall above the grinders. And that's going to pretty much be the basis for the kill box setup for the entire game. I'm going to build around that, beef it up a little bit, and then I'll start building across the rest of the room towards the 2 major exits on the ceiling and on the floor, essentially, because as you can see, there just really aren't any walls in this level at all, at least not in the rift room. And as I discovered on Precipice, I don't really like to have traps where I can't see them on endless mode, because they start generating health pots and mana pots and coins that I can't run and go get after level 25. On Precipice, I built a whole bunch of traps where I couldn't see them, and I figured that out and then took them down at level 25 and moved them to where I could see all of my traps. And in this level, I just decided I was just going to build them all in this room if I could, and since you never really have enough money to build a trap on every square in any room in the game, that works out just fine. You can put all the traps that you can buy, at least through level 44 in this room.
None shall pass.
Put up another scorcher and my first arrow wall on the ceiling. It's going to be like 40 of those eventually. Just like in Precipice, you don't have to worry about sappers until level 7. So I'm just sitting with essentially no defenses except for the kill box, and waiting for orcs to get in it and trying to get combos with the lightning ring. This little alcove here off to the side is really handy. It'll keep you out of the line of fire of the crossbow orcs and the ogre mages when they start coming in. You can actually cast your lightning cloud in the alcove and it'll still hit them as they enter the kill box. I chose to step out and do it in the middle of the kill box anyway, for most of the times when I'm casting it. Just because it seemed like it would be more centered and it would catch more of the orcs and it would waste less of the cloud.
Wow, that's a lot of death.
But the alcove is fantastic because you can hide there essentially out of sight until everything gets into the kill box or right in front of it, and then you can run over and stand in front of the rift and get constant healing while you shoot at them as they walk through the kill box.
Down below.
finding that there really isn't very much to say in the commentary because the strategy here is so straightforward. Once you have the kill box set up and you start building out just naturally,
Now I can toast 6 orcs at once.
there really isn't much to do but step out every once in a while and stun and headshot and try to keep them away from the rift. There's only one part where I have trouble. I only lose 2 rift points before I get to level 40.
Killing season.
I may lose a couple in like level 38 or 39 or something. Which I think I do. But for the vast majority of the game, it's very self-sufficient. Manages to kill almost everything with just a little bit of help from stunning and headshotting.
They're down below. That was awesome.
It's the first Earth Elemental. Those are the bane of my existence in this map, because unlike with Precipice, there aren't any rock chutes above, and that might be something that would be worth investing in instead of the haymakers or the trinket or something, because they do so much damage and they help with the Earth Elementals so much, and I really wish that
Another combo.
I had them, because eventually you just get swarmed by Earth Lords that you can't even soften up before they get to the kill
It's
box,
gonna
and they
hurt
just
me more than it hurts you.
eventually trounce you.
Other way around.
And once you get to the point where you can't kill them all before they get to you, there's enough of them that when you fall down, it's just over. You can lose all your rift points on a single death. Notice I'm not shooting them, I'm trying to let them get into the kill box. Again, this is for the sake of getting combos. You want to have the orcs hit with as many things as possible all at the same time, because the more things that hit them, the higher your combo number is. Higher your combo number, the greater your multiple on the additional coins that you get, and that leads to additional traps. So, at least for the early levels, you want to shoot them really as little as possible and wait for them to get into the kill box. By about level 15, it doesn't matter anymore. There I was trying to shoot him because I wanted to make sure that I had Moneybags in there by himself. Because you don't want to take a chance on letting him slip by you.
Combo.
That one arrow wall really helps. The one at the back really helps because, as you can see, it's facing to shoot through the entire kill box, and if anything does trigger it, it'll take out quite a bit, especially because by the time anything's at that point in the kill box, it's pretty soft, so those arrows go right through everything, and it's a pretty good stopgap.
They're down below. They're almost there. Oh yeah. I like this one. Welcome to Kill Streak City. Population? No!
Also helpful for generating as many coins as possible are getting kill streaks, which just means that you try to get as many things into the kill box all at the same time, right when the traps start firing off for the first time as possible. Sometimes you'll see me trying to stun mobs just outside of the grinders, so that I can have them all trip the grinders and the other traps all at the same time. But I don't think I was ever really successful at that. That might take a little bit more skill than I have. Now this is level 7, which means that sappers are coming for the first time. So you see I'm taking the brimstone out and I'm putting it up as forward defenses, where they can stop the sappers before they get into the rift room.
Voila!
This is a plan I ultimately did not use with the Scorchers facing each other like that. I decided not to do that.
Now that's a sticky situation.
The reason that I didn't put brimstone over in the third entrance, the one to my right, the way that the war mage is facing right now, is because the sappers, at least for the next 3 waves, will only come from the lower entrance and the upper entrance. They don't come from that middle one. So you might as well use your traps for other things. The first playthrough, I got to about level 23 before I started losing rift points. I put brimstone up on all 3 of the entrances early on, and then I decided that that wasn't necessary because it kills too many of the smaller mobs before they get to the kill box, and it hampers your combos. That place where I just fell into there, right by the barricades, it's a really easy place to get stuck. It's kind of hard to hop out of. It doesn't get you actually stuck or anything, but if you're in the middle of a wave, it might be troublesome. So just be aware of it. Try to avoid it. That's my initial sapper defense. That's where they came from the first time. Just cast a lightning up there to get rid of them. I thought that would do it. I think there actually are 2 more sappers that come after that, but they'll get caught by the brimstone. I don't get in trouble with sappers until much later, when I decided to take all of the sapper defense down. It was a big mistake. I lost 2 barricades and 2 rift points for my trouble. They didn't quite get to him. Well, they got to him, but they didn't blow him up there. But as you can see, even the brimstone doesn't stop him, because by the time that second group of sappers gets to the brimstone, it's already cashed out. So if I had had a chance to go back and do it a second time, I might have put a second layer of brimstone on that lower one. But I didn't actually need it on this wave, and I think I actually do go and put some brimstone down at wave 10, maybe even before.
Time to go to work. Sappers on the way!
Tried to do the run out and zap the sappers a second time, and didn't expect that knoll to be there. Once you get a few coins and past these early levels where you just don't have very many traps at all, the gnolls really cease to be a problem. You see when I'm setting up all my scorchers across the floor and arrow walls in the ceiling. They won't take the gnolls out, but they'll slow them down enough and soften them up enough so that you can take them out with just a couple of headshots. And also, the ability to stand in that alcove when you know that gnolls are coming is really helpful because it'll make them path through your traps, or at least through most of your traps, especially the outlying traps. They may not walk through the kill box, they may walk across the top of the barricades, but there you saw me putting down that second layer of brimstone as a fail-safe sapper defense. For most of the game, gnolls don't get any farther than that. If you follow the trap setup that I'm going to show you, just keep strengthening towards that wall, and most of the gnolls come from that direction, or they come from the right, and from the left. And if they come from the left, you'll have to get them right as they step on top of the barricades for the first time. But if they come from straight on the right hand side, straight ahead of the War Mage there, you can see them coming a long way off because they're usually the first thing they enter the field of play, and you can just stun them from a distance while they're getting hit with your scorchers, and then headshot them until they burn to a little null crisp. And that may have been the first time I realized that I was sitting next to a rift. You absolutely should not bring the health trinket into this level. There's no reason for it. Anytime you need healing, you can just go and heal yourself up. If you have the Mana Rage trinket, you won't even need the mana pots. I tried to conserve them. I tried not to pick them up, but towards the end I had like 20 or 30 sitting there, so there's just no shortage of them.
Burn, Orky, burn!
I wasn't sure that I would never get sappers coming from that direction, so I decided to put down a little brimstone there just in case, but I don't think that they ever come from that direction.
Treat time!
As I'm watching the video, and this is the first time that I'm watching it since I played, I just finished playing it right before I started recording the sound for it, the commentary. As I'm watching it, I realized that I sort of didn't see that you can put a wall trap in those little alcoves. You can't put floor traps in them, which is really irritating because I wanted to put a scorcher on the floor, especially towards the back here, as a last fail-safe after the kill box, and you can't do that. But apparently you can put a wall trap in there, like a spike wall or something. I wish I'd known that. I would have done that. That would have been really, I think, helpful, because it's in a place where it's going to shoot down the path of where essentially half of the mobs come from. I'm talking about the second alcove up there, not this back one, the one where that fire ogre was just standing. I don't know why I didn't use this time to put up a couple of traps. towards the end of a wave, when it's just you and moneybags left over, I always like to stop headshotting him and stunning him so that I can make sure that I get my mana pulled back up to 100% before the next wave starts, especially if I know that the traps are going to take him out for me, and especially in this kind of situation where you don't have to worry about accidentally picking up the health pots or the mana pots, because in this map you're going to find that your health and your mana are almost always full, because you can always stand next to the rift to fill up your health, and the mana regenerates by itself. So neither one of them is ever really a problem until you get swarmed.
Check out that combo!
It's almost funny to see how easy it is to headshot those earth elementals to death in the early levels after just finishing in the later levels. They take so much punishment.
I lost count again. My happening! It's gonna freak you out! Sappers on the way!
Not too bright, these ogres. Orcs. Whatever.
Down below. Funnier when most of the traps get. It's more fun when you kill them all at once.
I'm never sure whether or not you can shoot through a Scorcher when it's up. I don't know if it blocks your shots or not. Eventually I was worried enough about it, because this is the area, especially in the early part of the game, I would stand and shoot so I would have a straight shot at him, but eventually I was worried enough about it that I quit standing there and quit trying to shoot from that particular spot. Started shooting from up on this little area right here up on the steps instead, because there's nothing in the way.
Looking good. None shall pass.
I think this is the first time that you're going to see Null Grenadiers. Wave 13 was the first wave with Null Grenadiers and Precipice as well. So again, I think that they must have a pattern for these things. But here, they're just not a problem at all. They run across those two forward brimstone patches from either direction, and they're essentially dead at that point. And as you can see, I just took them out with a couple of lightning blasts. And that's the pattern for the whole thing. The Gnolls just really didn't give me much trouble at all. I mean, every once in a while, one will sneak up on you and surprise you, and will take a bunch of damage. Maybe it's speaking too soon. I don't remember if I actually was killed by something like that, and it would not surprise me at all. But for the most part, it was just they weren't difficult to deal with at all.
Sweet. Killing season. Here, Orky, Orky, Orky.
Of course, it never hurts to have one more layer of brimstone.
Down below. Fun when you kill them all at once.
I'm really finding that there isn't very much to say about this. It's a really self-explanatory level once you decide where you're going to put your kill box and set it up so that it's pretty effective. I keep considering maybe cutting out large parts of the video, but as I understand it, there's really no limit to what you can post on YouTube, and you guys can fast forward through it yourselves if you want to. So I'll probably just let it play and just say stuff when there's stuff to say. But for the most part, there's not much to it other than what you're seeing already. I mean, you can already see the basics of the strategy that becomes the strategy for the whole game. Just starting from the kill box and building out in two directions, towards that back hallway and then off towards the hallway to the left, and that will catch anything coming from below as well. In fact, I eventually cover, I think, almost every single square that's available on the floor of the rift room, with brimstone and scorchers and tar, and I cover a good bit of the ceiling with arrow walls, and that's pretty much it. After that, I mean, there may be a better strategy for figuring out how to go into the really higher waves that the 50s and 60s or whatever, but this will get you to your 5 spells.
Another combo.
See what I'm saying with the backwards, or that last line of defense, that arrow wall. Just when you start to think that you're getting overwhelmed, it'll trigger and take out 5 or 6 of the largest armies that you're facing, and reduce those Knoll Lords to elementals, and reduce the elementals to earthlings, and I said Knoll Lords, I meant to say Earth Lords. It's just a cakewalk after that, until you get to the, much later levels. That was the first time that I had set the arrow wall off, so I decided I was going to move my defenses back a little bit, because they're starting to persist and get through a little bit longer, so I wanted to have another square of tar. Only problem with the scorchers on most levels is that when you put them out in front of your barricades, it'll flip your mobs over the barricades. So you want to make sure that you have them facing alongside them like that instead of facing out. You don't want to accidentally flip a Earth Lord onto the other side of those barricades next to your rifts. So in the next 3 waves, there will be quite a few gnolls, and I think that I knew that already, because I think I'd gotten through this wave before in my practice playthrough. So I'm trying to decide here whether or not I have enough defenses for them. I can't really remember what I do. I think yeah, it looks like I'm taking out all of the brimstone and maybe pulling stuff back. I think I put some arrow
Gee, I
walls up
hope
there.
nobody gets hurt.
Against
No,
the
I
wall.
don't.
Those actually turn out to be very useful. Those 2 arrow walls there, you'll see what happens when I take them down. Later in the game, I got to the point where I thought that I just didn't have to worry about sappers anymore. But those will stop virtually every sapper. 2 arrow walls and a set of tar traps in front of them. The sappers will usually hit the room first. They'll set off the arrow walls. They'll get caught in the tar, and they'll get destroyed before they move on. So that's a pretty good little setup for the sappers. Even more useful, I think, than the brimstone. Although brimstone's a better failsafe, just in case the sappers aren't the first thing into the room.
Stabbing time.
I don't know why I didn't notice those arrow walls appearing on that inside of that alcove. I definitely would have put some down on the 2 alcoves in the middle of the room.
They're down below. Ugh. Down below.
In fact, having an arrow wall in that alcove that he's standing next to would also be very helpful for the occasional small army that makes it through the kill box.
Die.
Just like the arrow wall in the back wall.
I'll just leave this right here. Rest in pieces.
The gnolls just aren't a problem. Once they get into the room, they're already almost dead.
That's gotta hurt. They're almost there. Cool. This used to be an Orc's head. Ooh, shiny.
Pretty soon after this, I realized that you really don't need to have three scorchers there, or a line, or 3 lines going towards the exit. Two is sufficient. And I'll go back and pick those up and essentially even out the 2 paths coming to the kill box from the 2 different directions.
Bye-bye. Orc, the other white meat. They're almost there! Stabbing time! Sappers on the way! They're down below! Down below!
As you can see, the sappers that were coming through, I didn't even have to worry about them. Didn't have to shoot at them or anything. They'll just hit the traps that are there, run across those scorchers, and just get blown up.
Who cares?
Maybe right around this point that I started thinking that I don't have to worry about them at all. Every one of those coins is from a knoll. Must have been about 15 of them on this level. Just barely even noticed it because the brimstone is so effective in dealing with it.
Ready, aim, fire! They're almost there! That was awesome!
I always like to catch the Earth Lords and knock them down at least to elemental size before they go into the kill box. Otherwise, they're halfway through the traps of the rift before you knock them down into two elementals that are going to get knocked down again into two Earthlings, and sometimes it's just hard to deal with that many. It's hard to deal with that many monsters. But if they're elemental size before they go in there, they're pretty easy. Later that ceases to be an option. And that's when you know that the end is coming.
Killing season!
Down below. Down below.
Freak City. Population?
Sometimes even when you do knock them down a little bit before they get in there, they get all the way to the end. The elementals are definitely the worst part of the map on this one. Now here I decided that I was going to redo my entire trap system. I decided that I didn't need to worry about sappers anymore because I was going to put up scorchers, and that would definitely take care of them. And I also wanted to minimize my use of brimstone because you have enough coins at this point to replace pretty much all of it with scorchers, which I thought would deal more damage and therefore be more useful. But the difference, of course, is that brimstone remains active longer and it affects more things, and so it's more effective against kobolds and kobold sappers because once
This'll slow 'em up.
once the scorchers fire, they're done for 30 seconds or a minute, or I don't know how long it is, but it's long enough to let some stuff through. So I started putting down the standard 2 scorchers, 1 tar, leading in these 2 directions, directly towards the 2 entrances. As you can see, there's exactly enough room for it, and it's a pretty good defense. It's just not great against sappers.
Ooh, here's a good one.
So that makes it even on both sides with 2 sets of those 6 traps for 4 scorchers and 2 tars. So I decided I was going to start putting up arrow walls directly above them, leading out in the same 2 directions. Kind of screwed that up in a little while, mostly because there's a line of 3 half squares that you can't put arrow walls in for some reason. You'll see me trying here in a second. Again, I don't know why I didn't put arrow walls in those alcoves. Won't go there.
They'll never notice this.
And once I had those up, I decided that I wanted some backstop, so I'm going to take them down and put them someplace else. At this point, I was, for some reason, thinking that this was Wave 25 and that this would be my last a chance to put up traps. So I left some arrow walls on the ceiling where I didn't particularly want them yet, because I thought that it would remind me where I want to put them later. And I didn't think I would have another chance to put any more up. I mean, I didn't think I'd have another pause. I thought I would have to be doing it all on the fly.
Orc pincushions coming right up.
I think I'm still not happy with that. At this point I'm thinking this is what I'm going to do eventually, but I don't want to do it right now because I wanted to have arrow walls back there closer to the rifts. So I take them down again, leave up those so that I can tell which tiles they're supposed to cover, and I start putting them up back here. At this point I was wondering if those would even be effective, because they're so close to the rift that I'm thinking that even if the arrows are firing, even if they might kill any mobs that are there, it might not kill them fast enough to keep them into the rift or keep them from getting into the rift, and
Set it and forget it.
so it's just a waste of money. So I'm not particularly happy with that either. I put an arrow wall there, and I think that that's probably not going to be a good idea, so I take it out. And I go back to putting them here. And that eventually kind of screws me because I start putting them accidentally over the barricade, which is exactly what I was trying not to do, or trying to figure out a way to avoid doing. But it doesn't matter. Eventually I managed to fix it, and that wasn't the problem that I just caused. You're about to see the problem that I just caused.
Head down below. Head down below. They're almost there.
One of the worst things about this setup is the fact that the orcs will path over there towards that other side of the rift, and every time they do, you get that "they're almost there" message. But they're not, because they can't get through the barricades, and so it starts to be meaningless and you stop listening to it, which can also be a problem. It may be helpful to put those barricades on that side out a little bit farther so that you don't get that warning.
Keep it coming. Watch out, sappers!
Okay, so there are sappers coming, but I think that they're going to be stopped by the scorchers. Notice I've taken out the arrow walls and I've taken out the brimstone, and I've just got two sappers hitting my barricades on that side. But I go over and I make sure that they're fine, and they look like they're fine. I don't see those other sappers coming, and I don't notice that. I don't notice them blowing up my barricades there in the middle. I'm fighting this knoll, and I know that knolls can run across barricades, so that one doesn't bother me. And it's not until I get out here and turn around that I realize that I have no barricades. So that's where I lost my first two rift points. I had to put the barricades up on the fly, And that is the lesson about taking out your brimstone. You always want to keep your brimstone defense up because the sappers will get through scorchers.
They're almost there. Sappers on the way.
So now
Down below.
I'm running out to put my defenses back up.
Really? Yeah, really. Down below.
I think it may also be that that line of defense there is just too close to the barricade. So even if the sappers are going to get hit by the scorchers, they're still going to damage your barricade when they blow up. So at this point, I thought I might just lose on this way because I couldn't seem to keep the stuff off my barricades. See me resorting to spamming lightning bolts. I'm just hoping to get to the end of it so that I can redo my traps. Alright, so this actually is the last pause before before wave 25, which is of course the last pause that you get in Endless. You don't get another chance to go out and redo your traps. So I just learned a harsh lesson about brimstone and sappers, and so I'm going to go back and set up a new brimstone line to make sure that that doesn't happen again, and also it'll help with any mobs that are coming in from that from the lowest entrance.
This won't hurt him.
Take out the arrow walls that I thought might be useless. As it turns out, nothing really gets back that far until you're in wave 38, 39, 40. So those, I don't ever put those arrow walls back up. I kept thinking that I was going to, but I just never did. At least I didn't put all of them back up. I may put one or two back up. I can't remember. But now I have my brimstone out, and I'm a little bit safer from sappers, which is nice. And this is pretty much the rest. I mean, this is the trap setup that I will have for the next 19 rounds, which is, or next 19 waves, which is as far as I get. The only difference, the only substantive difference is I'm going to put up some haymakers. Notice I haven't used a single haymaker. It really is kind of a waste of a slot to have them. I wish I'd brought boulder shoots instead. When I do end up putting up haymakers, I'm never really happy with them. It's really not a very good place for them. There just isn't a lot of low ceiling, and there isn't a lot of wall in this map. I brought 2 wall traps and a ceiling trap, and there's really not much place for them, although you can't go wrong with the arrow walls because it's the only thing that you can put on the ceiling that's going to hit the floor where the orcs and ogres are. But it's still not it's not ideal. It might have been better to trade
Let's roll.
haymakers for
more traps. I do.
For boulder shoots, and then take out the arrow walls as well and use something else. I don't know. I might have experimented trying to figure something else out. Maybe if you really wanted to try for high levels, you can't beat the mushrooms for creating an unbeatable
This'll be fun.
defense after many waves. But it's really never been my goal. I'm not really trying to hit wave 80. I'm just trying to get the 5 skulls. This is where I started to really wish that I had arrow walls with the chill effect instead of the fire effect, because you have so much fire on the floor with all of your scorchers that you don't ever really have any trouble with the frost ogres. But for some reason on this level they spanned about 8 fire ogres, and there's just nothing I'm doing that's hurting them except for headshots. Would have been nice to have those arrow walls on the ceiling raining down chill effect on them. But as you can see, stunning and headshotting is an effective strategy. This is where I started putting my arrow walls up. No, I guess not. Eventually I'll start putting my arrow walls up on the ceiling in a path that takes them right over half of the barricades, which is essentially wasting half of them.
Kill streak.
The ogre mages that were the bane of my existence on Precipice, because they do so much damage and you just can't heal yourself after a certain point in that game on endless mode, are really not very scary on this one, because you can sort of hide from them, and if they do hit you, you can always run over and stand next to the rift. They actually, I don't think they can do enough damage to overcome the amount of healing that the rift gives you. So if there's only about 2 of them shooting at you, you can literally get hit with every shot that they throw at you, and you'll still have a net gain of hit points from the rift.
Ready for more.
Don't quote me on that, but it's at least close. You do still want to take those out, as sooner rather than later.
The last thing you'll ever see.
That one is over barricades. Oops. I actually started wishing towards the very end, especially on wave 43, I started wishing that I had just put arrow walls over all these barricades on the left-hand side. The ones that make up the wall of the kill box, to sort of hurt the gnolls as they're running at you, but they're still not terribly difficult to deal with. I try to undo my mistake, and there just isn't enough time.
Arrows for everyone. Down below.
Actually, that may be where I noticed my mistake. Standing on the barricades, looking up, seeing that it's covering half of the barricades instead of the floor.
They're almost there. Funnier when most of the traps get. Wow, that's a lot of death.
As the waves get harder, this sight of seeing several elementals get scarier and scarier. This is sort of the first time that I noticed that you can't just let an earth elemental walk through your kill box, because it won't it's not strong enough to take it out anymore. I keep waiting for them to die so that I can take these stupid arrow walls out, and I was afraid that they were going to hit the rifts.
Ready, aim, fire!
There we go. Much better.
Down below!
As you can see, health pots and mana pots just aren't a problem. Just never really need them, except for emergencies, and there's plenty of them there.
They're almost there!
In fact, as it turns out, the only time that I really did need them, couldn't get to them.
How many was that? Nah, who cares? Now that's dealing with style.
Almost every wave they start to get closer. But as you can see, that back arrow wall is still really helpful, especially against the Earthlings, which are not terribly strong, but there's always so many of them. It's nice to have that wall there, and these two back Scorchers to take them out as they get close, so that you can concentrate on the bigger ones.
A little present for you, one for you, and one for you. Down below. Down below. They're almost there.
It's getting harder and harder to take those Earth Lords out before they get to the kill box. I hate those shots.
Yes! Hellstreak! Combo! Sword-killing genius!
As you can see, it is still my natural sort of reaction to try not to get the health pots when I don't need them, but they just don't matter on this map.
Arrows for everyone!
it's always worth it to get rid of those shamans sooner rather than later, because as the waves get tougher and the mobs have more and more hit points, every time that shaman raises something from the dead, it's someone that's going to be a pain in the ass to kill us every time. At this point I was thinking, actually I think, never mind. There's a wave coming up where I was surprised by a second mountain troll, but this wasn't it.
Let's roll. Kills orcs and washes laundry.
The very first haymakers that I've put up, I will only put up, I think, 2 more in the entire game, maybe 5 more, but I think it's just 2 more, and they're essentially a waste. Haymakers are really not useful against anything except for ogres and elementals, because any damage that they do to trolls will regenerate before they get to the kill box. And I think that most of the ogres and elementals come from the other 2 entrances, but you can't really put haymakers on the roofs of either of the other 2 entrances, although they do have places where the haymakers would hit the mobs, but you wouldn't be able to see them. So if they produced coins or health pots or mana pots, you wouldn't ever know that they're there, and you wouldn't be able to go and get them after wave 25. So I didn't want to put any haymakers anywhere except for in that middle entrance. Middle in the sense of the level where the entrance is. It was the top one, the bottom one, and the middle one. I didn't want to put any of the haymakers anywhere else other than in that entrance, and I was never convinced that they were doing me any real good there. I really think that it would have been better to bring boulder chutes. You could put boulder chutes all across that ceiling instead of arrow walls for quite a bit less money, I think, because the boulder chutes cover 4 squares. I think they cost, what, like 800 or 1,000 for each boulder chute, and they cover squares. Oh, it looks like I did put some haymakers down at the bottom. They cover 4 squares that the arrow walls would cover, and they arrow walls to cover those 4 squares would cost 2,400, and the haymakers would, the boulder chutes cost considerably less. At the most, they're 15. I think they're either 1,000 or 1,500, and they do a lot more damage, I think, than the arrow walls do to a much larger area, and they hurt everything that they hit. So I think that they would have been a much better choice, much better than the haymakers. Notice I keep getting hit by the ogre mages, but they can't hit me enough to make a noticeable dent in my hit points when I'm sitting next to the rift. I think if they were able to shoot me constantly, they could, but they can't, so they're not that big a problem. Just keep them stunned and you'll be fine. If you take a stray bullet or 2, it's not going to hurt you.
That was awesome!
Those little earthlings are fast when they get out of your traps. I always think that it's safe to ignore them, but it's really not.
Let's go! Some new decorations. It's down below.
If you keep improving your defenses, the gnolls never really get very far.
Kill streak.
For some reason, they just wanted to spam regular ogres on this level. And as you can see, there's like 30 of them there, but they're just not scary at this point. The number of traps that you have. Their heads are really easy to see, really easy to headshot. It's easy to keep them stun locked. I have full mana, it's not going anywhere.
Time to go to work.
Just trying to put another haymaker out there, I think, and every time I'm out trying to put up a trap when I hear those gnolls call, I always get scared and cowered my way back to my kill box.
Funnier when multiple traps together. Wow, that's a lot of death. They're almost there.
As you can see, even here on wave 36, it's the same strategy that it's been since the beginning, and it's not terribly difficult to maintain it. It's on this map, it's just not difficult to get to wave 41.
Right there, that's the spot.
Tar to make sure that they actually hit the traps. We'll have to put some tar up here. I had intended to make this into an actual kill box eventually, but I just never got around to it. Mostly because at this point in the game, you don't ever really have enough to put down more than one trap in between waves unless you miss a couple of waves. You just don't earn more than a couple of hundred coins per wave.
Yes! Kill streak!
That ogre mage can stand there to your blind side and shoot you all day long. And he's just not hurting you because you're standing right next to the rift. It's one of the best features of this map is the ability to put a kill box in a place where you can police it
Killing season.
standing right next to the rift.
Russian book burn, but with orcs instead of books.
I think this is the... At one point I had a gnoll that I just couldn't kill. I think this is it. Just kept shooting him and he wouldn't die.
Sweet! Another combo!
I mean, it doesn't seem like it took quite as long now as it did when he was throwing grenades at me. So here we are at wave 39, and I've still only lost the 2 rift points that I lost as a result of accidentally letting a bunch of sappers through on wave, what was it, 22. So if I hadn't made that mistake, I'd still be essentially perfect at this point. Now I have a death coming up here pretty soon, and I lose some more rift points before I get close to the end. But as you can see, there was really it's never really a threat that I was going to lose.
They're almost there! Now that's killing with style! Traps together. Stabbing time!
Here it is, wave 40. The last wave that you have to get through to get 5 skulls.
Carnival ride of death.
Put up 2 more haymakers that are essentially useless. Run back to my little hiding alcove and wait for the waves that are the last ones that I have to kill. Alright, maybe I didn't exactly wait. And that is why I hate shamans. He just raised that armored ogre from the dead with like half of his health. And this is as close as I get to panicking. I really thought that I might let all 3 of those guys through, but I knew that even if I died and let all 3 of them through, I'd still have like 5 rift points left, so I knew I was gonna win at this point. Which I think maybe some of them do get through. Maybe 1 or 2 of the Earthlings. Yeah. Couldn't stop it. finally just let him go and decided to focus on money bags. My mana's gone. Can barely even keep him out of the rip. Might have been good to put some tar on those couple of spaces there. I thought about it right at the beginning, and I just didn't think about it again until right this second. The tar would have been helpful.
Bang! Zoom! Straight to the moon! Down below! And down below!
So that was it. At this point, I've got the 5 skulls I survived for this round, and the next one, and the one after that, and then that's it. And we'll just let it play through till the end. But at this point, as you can see on wave 40, it's getting to the point now where the kill box isn't sufficient, and there's not enough money being generated to put down enough traps to make it sufficient. So
wow, that's a lot of death.
It is an unsustainable situation at this point. The end is coming.
That one should be extra. Killing season. Now that's a sticky situation. And down below. Now that's killing with style. Almost there!
Lost another one. When they get close enough to you, you just can't get headshots because for some reason just can't aim with their heads anymore. So you have to get out of the way so that there's nothing between them and the rift, and just hope that you can pick them off one by one. This is how this map ends, with Earth Elementals breathing down your neck and just trying to keep them all out of the rift. Eventually, you can't.
Keep it coming.
At least I couldn't.
I like a nice medium rare or warm pink scent. Down below.
Now, on this level, you get another level just like level 19 with a bunch of gnolls. This time I kind of expected it, and also since the gnolls aren't really a problem on this map. I don't even think I die here. I may, but I think I managed it.
Sometimes I amaze myself.
At least the gnoll part of it. The rest of these guys might get me, but the gnolls weren't a problem. That's sort of the biggest problem with Earth Elementals, is that they're much more difficult to keep stun locked than any other mob, because you stun lock them and then you headshot them until they break apart, and then they break apart into two smaller versions of themselves that are not stunned. So you have to shoot them again, and if you're having trouble getting headshots for whatever reason, that's a waste of mana, or at least it's an extra use of mana. And so they end up creeping along, getting closer and closer until they eventually overwhelm you. But you're about to see that's not actually what kills me. What kills me is just plain old stupidity. So they're getting close, and I think that I have it managed, and I'm trying to focus on the mountain trolls. And I did not see that guy coming. I thought, I can handle two. And then there are two more, and they're much closer. And I'm zoomed in, and I don't realize how close they're getting. So this may not be the level where I died. I think I survived this. This is not how I remember my death scene. Must be the next level. But that was a terrible shock. Somehow I managed to get them all. It's much easier to keep the mountain trolls stun locked and stuck in place, and to get headshots on them than it is the Earth Lords, especially as they start breaking apart. And there they go.
Bring it!
So this is
Ready, aim, fire! Head down below! Oh, now!
So I got up on those barricades, I think, to fight that knoll. I don't know why I didn't get down off of it.
They're almost there!
It's never a good place to stand. I think that I have them stun locked and easy to control, and I'm just getting ready to fall back to stand in front of the rift, and I get stopped. And then I get out. And then I get destroyed. There was just nowhere to go after that. I didn't have ice. Couldn't stun them when they were all around me. And that was it. So that's it. 5 skulls. As you can see, that's the first time I actually completed this this map without just hitting the retry button in the middle. So that's the first time I ever had skulls awarded. Got a total of 15 bonus skulls. I'm going to show you the stats in just a second. So 2,000 trap kills. I get a bonus skull for every time you reach the fifth wave. Biggest kill streak 19, biggest combo 7. I think that you get an achievement for a 20 kill streak, or maybe it's 25. I knew I was going to be recording sound, so I let this just linger. Didn't know I wouldn't have anything to say. And there it is. 809th place, 708,866. So again, that's my tutorial on how to 5-skull the wind-up level on Endless with the War Mage character. I hope that you enjoyed it. If it's helpful, please leave a comment. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a good day.